When many men go overseas, their perspective on life changes. They see what really makes them happy, what's the most important thing in their life. And they also recognize that in most of these countries that we visit, the man is the sole provider of the family. And then that being said, many guys want to open up a business when they travel to paradise. So in this video, this is a very important video, guys, of what you need to know before you decide to open up a business overseas. All right. So in my travels, I've met many entrepreneurs, many business owners, a lot of restaurant owners, Airbnb guys, all types of different, people basically. And in my conversations, I've learned a lot about opening up traditional brick and mortar business overseas. All right. I want to give a shout out to all the business owners out there. It's definitely a beautiful thing, starting your business, living in paradise, being able to support yourself and help the local people as far as employment. All right. But guys, you got to make sure you do your due diligence in research and concerns before you decide to invest your hard-earned money. It's a lot of scams, it's a lot of tricks out here in these overseas, in these foreign countries. All right, guys. So what you need to know is, number one, that when you're investing your USD, right, you're investing American money, and it might not be much or it might be a lot. It depends on what business you open it, but you're going to receive their currency in return. And in doing that, you're always going to be at a loss. All right. The real, the peso, the baht is of less value in the world economy. All right. So you have to keep that in mind. You are losing right off the rip when you accept the local currency, unless you're somewhere in Europe or you just happen to be, in a country where the currencies are a little close. Most of the time, especially if it's in South America or somewhere in Asia, it's going to be a big gap, all right, in between the USD and their local currency. So that's number one. So you just be very careful on what you decide to sell or what type of business you decide to run, all right? Also, who are you marketing to? Are you marketing to the locals or are you marketing to other tourists, other foreigners, all right? That's going to make a big difference, especially in the restaurant business. Are you charging, do you have a nice boutique restaurant where you're able to charge a lot of money? Or is your restaurant in a local area where typically they don't pay a lot for food, all right? And then they're paying in pesos, like I mentioned before. So you kind of at an L right there. So you definitely want to know your audience now. Now, after that, after you know who you're marketing to, what neighborhood are you going to put it in? You got to be really careful about what neighborhood you're putting these businesses in, because there is a payola system in a lot of places in South America, especially Colombia. All right. What the payola system is you also paying the taxes in the government, but you also paying maybe the mafia, maybe the cartel. In Colombia in particular, they have a chamber of commerce, like a little organization that's pretty much a front company. It's a front company, but let's just say another entity that's behind the scenes. So that's the certain things you got to deal with. You need to know. What you really have to do is get as much information as possible about that city, not only just the front laws or the upfront laws and the taxes, but you also got to ask around, hey, is this a safe neighborhood? Is this a good area to open up a business? All right. It's very, very important, because you have people that unfortunately have lost their lives because they went in there and the realtor didn't tell them, hey, this neighborhood belongs to this organization, and this organization, you're going to have to really pay them. You might have to pay them even more because you're a foreigner. All right. So you definitely want to make sure of that. What area are you deciding to open up your business? All right. Now, also, you got to also think about the employment laws, guys. The employees. I cannot stress that harsh enough. The employment laws in Brazil, in particular. I'll give you a prime example. All right, I met a restaurant owner out there in Copacabana Beach, and I asked him a lot of questions. I said, "Man, wow, you opened up a restaurant here in Brazil?" I know that's a lot of red tape. That's difficult. How's it going? He said it was the worst decision he made in his life. He said, hey, man, I enjoy owning my own business, but the employment laws are always in the Brazilians' favor, meaning a lot of employees either don't show up to work or they show up to work late, or they provide very bad customer service skills to the patrons of that restaurant. And then when he fires them, they run to the Brazilian judge, and the Brazilian judge always sides with the local citizen, right? Because most countries, they're nationalists. They're going to look out for each other before you look out for you. You're a foreigner, especially if you don't speak the native tongue, all right? They're looking at you like, what are you doing here? That business should be owned by one of the local residents, all right? Or one of their people, not you, right? So you got to pay high unemployment insurance in Brazil because it's such a high turnover, and then more likely they're going to get paid. So these are things you really got to know in dealing with businesses overseas. You got to know, that you're going to be taking the L with the local currency. You got to know who you marketing to, what area you're going to put your business in. All right, you got to definitely know the employment laws as well. All right. Now, I will say this: the best business that I've seen thus far. All right, because the restaurant business is difficult. A lot of guys have, lost their money in the restaurant business, not understanding, what I just explained. Okay, but shout out to the guys that do have successful restaurants and successful bars and clubs. They are out there. All right, but the profit margin is not where you want it to be. You're not going to get, let's just say, rich. All right, now that person next to you might be rich because they got their family working for them. All right, but for you, it might be, a little taxing on, the stress level, trying to deal with, bad employees, crooked cops. You got to deal with all types of stuff. So like I said before, do your due diligence in the upfront laws and what I like to call the soft laws. All right. Talk to a local citizen, and ask them, hey, what's going on in this area? Should I open up a business here? But I will say, from my experience, the best business for most guys are going to be Airbnb. Okay, Airbnb is going to be one of the, in my opinion, from what I've seen, most success stories, guys making money, actually becoming wealthy by buying property, buying apartments in Colombia, buying apartments in Brazil, in good neighborhoods, tourist areas, right, and renting them out for a good profit margin. Now, the good thing about Airbnb is, guess what? The money comes straight directly to you. All right, the money comes to you. Versus if you have a club and you got different hands in that pot before the money gets to you. A lot of times it's going to be stealing. All right, especially in South America. I had a friend of mine that had a concert, spent a lot of money, and then he didn't make any money because by the time the bag got back to him, it was so many little fingers crawling in there, grabbing money at the door, grabbing money at the bar. All right, so you got to pay. Like I said, he paid a lot of money, US dollars. Then he getting pesos back. So not only are you getting pesos, they're stealing the pesos. So that's one thing you got to think about. Versus Airbnb, the money comes straight to you and you don't have to be there. You can get a property management company and you pay the property management company. The property management company usually doesn't get the money unless they're paying directly like cash. Like in some cases in Brazil, the owners want cash money and you just take a picture and they give you a receipt to make sure that you get a transaction. In Airbnb, of course, all the money comes directly to you. And I've met brothers that have been successful. There's one brother that owns 48 Airbnbs in Medellin alone. All right. I know another brother that owns 7 Airbnbs in Rio de Janeiro. And all these guys are highly successful. So that's my opinion on what to start. That might be your best bet to start off with. And once you get more familiar with the area, then you go and open up maybe a brick and mortar business like a restaurant or a club or a bar. All right, guys. Peace.